All right, so today we're diving into something pretty mysterious.
Okay.
A book called Shams al-Marifa,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
which translates to the Book of the Son of Knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this book is, it's a little different than your average self-help book.
Right.
It's been banned and hidden and even feared for centuries
Really? Wow.
because it supposedly holds the keys to some incredible knowledge and forbidden secrets.
I see. So it's kind of like a...
Yeah,
Or
up
was
to-
it...
at a cost.
Oh, at a car.
There's always a catch, right?
Right.
So the rumors surrounding this book, they're pretty fascinating.
Yeah, they are.
And we're going to be looking at an article today called Shams al-Marif, The Forgotten Key to Forbidden Power.
Ah.
And it dives into some real-life accounts of people who have encountered this book.
Oh, wow.
And let's just say some of these stories are a little unsettling.
Interesting. So we're talking disappearances, strange events, whispers of curses.
Exactly. We're going to see if there's any truth to these stories or if it's all just legend.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Me too. So before we get into the spooky stuff,
Yeah.
we should probably talk about what this book actually is.
Okay.
It's more than just spooky tales.
Right. Yeah.
It delves into Islamic mysticism with prayers and rituals and symbols that are designed to actually interact with the spiritual realm.
Wow. So it's kind of like a guidebook to accessing this hidden knowledge and manipulating these unseen energies.
Exactly. And maybe even summoning jinn.
Okay, hold on. Now we're talking jinn now.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who might not know what those are, can you explain a little bit?
Yeah. So jinn in Islamic tradition, they're these spiritual beings that are made of smokeless fire.
Interesting.
They exist in a world parallel to ours, and they possess these incredible powers.
Mm-hmm.
Some are believed to be benevolent and some are not so much.
Ah, okay. So that makes sense why this book is so feared.
Exactly. And Shams al-Marif claims to hold the secrets to interacting with them.
Oh boy, this is already getting creepy.
I know, right?
So who wrote this potentially dangerous book?
So the author is believed to be Ahmad al-Buni, a 13th century scholar and mystic.
Okay.
And he was really interested in the esoteric.
Mm.
He wasn't just collecting ghost stories. He was really trying to understand the mechanics of the spiritual world.
Right.
And some say that this knowledge came at a price.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the article that we're looking at, it mentions several incidents that are connected to this book.
Yeah.
Are there any of those stories that particularly stand out to you?
One that always kind of sends chills down my spine is the story of this scholar from Fez in the late 19th century
Okay.
who got his hands on a copy of Shams al-Marif and just became totally obsessed
With it.
with summoning jinn to gain forbidden knowledge.
So what happened?
His behavior became erratic. He started claiming to see and hear things that other people couldn't.
Oh, no.
And then he vanished.
Wait, he just disappeared.
Without a trace.
So no one knows what happened to him?
Nope, gone, just vanished.
Wow.
And all that was left was this open copy of Shams al-Marif. I know. And his family claimed they heard whispers coming from his room even after he disappeared.
Oh, my God.
So it makes you wonder, what did he stumble upon?
Right.
What price did he pay for pursuing this forbidden knowledge?
That's terrifying.
Right.
Are there any other accounts that maybe could shed some light on what happens when you mess with this book?
Well, there's the story of this Cairo businessman in the 1920s
Okay.
who was basically on the verge of bankruptcy and was desperate for a solution.
Oh, so he turned to the book
He did.
to try to save his business.
They turned to Shams al-Marif, specifically to the rituals designed to attract wealth and fortune.
Oh, okay. So he was trying to get rich. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, ironically, his business did start booming almost immediately.
Oh, so it worked.
It did. He became very wealthy in a short amount of time, but almost as quickly as his luck turned.
Oh, no.
He started having these strange accidents, unexplained illnesses.
Oh.
And within a year, he died under very mysterious circumstances.
It's like the classic genie in a bottle. You get what you wish for, but there's always a catch.
Always a catch.
Right.
And to make matters worse, the strange occurrences didn't end with him.
Yeah.
His family reported all sorts of unexplained phenomena happening in their home for years after his death.
So it's like whatever he unleashed didn't disappear with him.
Yeah, it's a little unsettling.
That's really unsettling. Are all the stories linked to this book this dark?
Not always. There's this more recent story from 2011 about an art dealer in Istanbul
Okay.
who claimed to have found an original manuscript of Shams al-Marif.
Wow.
He sold it to this mysterious buyer for a large sum of money.
Of course.
But immediately after the sale, his life just took a dramatic turn for the worse.
What happened?
Financial ruin, health problems. He even had a fire that destroyed his shop,
Oh, no.
and he was convinced that the book had cursed him.
So we have three very different situations, but they all have this similar thread of things going wrong after they encounter this book.
Right.
So are these just unfortunate coincidences, or is there a deeper connection?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? The pattern is hard to ignore, especially when you consider that Shams al-Marif specifically warns about the potential dangers of using its knowledge improperly.
So it's not just about the book itself, but also the intentions and actions of the person using it,
Precisely.
which makes it even more fascinating that this book, with all these potentially dangerous rituals, also contains insights that seem to align with modern science.
It does. Wait, really, give me an example.
Well, there's a section that focuses on this Quranic verse that describes the sky as a protective canopy.
Okay.
And al-Buni interpreted this as a layer of spiritual protection that surrounds the Earth.
Okay, so how does that connect to modern science?
Well, modern science tells us that the Earth's atmosphere shields us from harmful cosmic rays and meteorites.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if al-Buni centuries ago had an understanding of this protective layer that we're just now starting to grasp.
That's incredible. Where did he get this knowledge? Was he divinely inspired, or was there another more otherworldly source?
That is a question that continues to spark debate among scholars and mystics.
Some believe that Shams al-Marif is a divinely inspired text, while others see it as a very dangerous grimoire filled with forbidden magic.
So Shams al-Marif is kind of a paradox then.
It is.
It's this blend of ancient wisdom and potentially dangerous practices.
Exactly.
And it's still captivating people today.
It is.
So that's what we'll be exploring next, the enduring fascination with this book and its impact on culture and some of the modern-day practices that are associated with it.
Sounds good.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive on Shams al-Marif.
Yeah.
Kind of a strange mix of ancient wisdom and potentially dangerous magic.
Right.
I'm curious, has this book had any real impact on the world?
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
like beyond the individual stories that we talked about?
Yeah, while it's true that Shams al-Marif has always been more of an underground text, its
Yeah.
influence can definitely be seen in various esoteric traditions,
Okay.
especially those that are rooted in Islamic mysticism.
So give me some examples.
Well, think about it, teachings on jinn, the creation of talismans,
Right.
the manipulation of spiritual energies.
Yeah.
These ideas resonate with certain groups even today, particularly in the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Southeast Asia.
So it's like this hidden current flowing beneath the surface
Exactly.
and influencing these more mystical practices.
Right.
But wouldn't something this powerful with such a long history also have sparked some controversy?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, surely not everyone agrees on how to interpret it.
You're absolutely right. Shams al-Marif has been a subject of intense debate for centuries.
Right.
There are those who see it as a profound spiritual guide,
Okay.
offering genuine insight into the hidden workings of the universe.
So they believe that it can be used for good.
Yeah, they believe that its teachings, if used responsibly, can lead to spiritual enlightenment and self-discovery.
That makes sense. But I'm guessing not everyone shares that view.
Exactly. There are others who condemn it as a dangerous and forbidden text, a gateway to dark forces that could corrupt and destroy anyone who dabbles in its secrets.
Right.
They point to the emphasis on summoning jinn and manipulating energies as evidence of its potential for harm.
So it's like this spiritual tug of war.
It is.
Both sides pulling in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Where does the truth lie? Is it good or evil? Or somewhere in between?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
And unfortunately, there's no simple answer.
Yeah.
I think the truth probably lies somewhere in that gray area, as it does with many powerful tools,
Right.
The potential for both benefit and harm exists. It just depends on the intentions and actions of the person using it.
So it all comes down to how the knowledge is applied and the heart of the person using it.
Exactly.
But how has the digital age impacted the way that people interact with Shams al-Marif?
It's interesting, actually. In the digital age, interest in Shams al-Marif has exploded.
Really?
I mean, there's online forums, social media groups, entire websites dedicated to discussing the book. People from all over the world share their interpretations, their experiences.
Right.
They even conduct rituals together virtually.
So there's a whole online subculture dedicated to exploring its mysteries.
There is.
That's pretty fascinating.
It is.
But doesn't that also mean that more people have access to this potentially dangerous knowledge?
That's a valid concern. The internet has made information incredibly accessible,
Yeah,
which can be both a good thing and a bad thing.
right.
In the case of Shams al-Marif, this means that people with little to no understanding of traditional Islamic mysticism can now easily access and experiment with rituals and techniques that were once carefully guarded
Uh,
and taught only to select initiates.
that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It does.
It's like giving someone a powerful tool without the instruction manual or the safety warnings.
Right.
Have there been any notable incidents or trends related to the book in the digital age?
One trend that's emerged is the use of Shams al-Marif for financial gain.
Oh.
Many are inspired by the story of the Cairo businessman.
Oh, yeah.
They turn to the book's wealth-attracting rituals, hoping for that quick fix to their money problems.
Right.
Unfortunately, many end up experiencing more harm than good, either falling prey to scams disguised as magical solutions, or perhaps unwittingly unleashing forces they don't understand.
So it's like this cautionary tale within a cautionary tale.
Right.
People are so desperate for a solution to their problems that they become vulnerable to anything that promises a quick fix.
Exactly. The allure of Shams al-Marif is that it seems to offer that shortcut,
Yeah.
a way to bypass the hard work and effort usually required to achieve success or spiritual enlightenment.
Right.
It taps into that very human desire for instant gratification.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, the consequences can be dire.
Yeah, it's fascinating how these ancient warnings still hold true in our modern world.
They do.
Shams al-Marif. It serves as a reminder that the desire for power, whether it's financial wealth or a spiritual enlightenment, or even just knowledge, can lead us down some dangerous paths.
And it highlights a crucial point. Knowledge in itself isn't inherently good or evil.
Right.
It's simply a tool.
Like fire.
Exactly like any tool, it can be used for constructive or destructive purposes.
Right.
The intention behind its use, the understanding and respect for its power, and the responsibility with which it's wielded,
Yeah.
those are the factors that ultimately determine its impact.
So you're saying it's not the book itself that's dangerous, but rather how people choose to use it.
Exactly. And that's a powerful lesson that applies not just to ancient mystical texts like Shams al-Marif,
Right.
but to all forms of knowledge and power in our modern world.
We've talked a lot about the potential dangers of Shams al-Marif, the darker aspects of its power, and the risks involved in exploring its teachings.
Yeah.
But is there another side to this coin? Could there be positive applications of the knowledge contained within this book?
That's a great question.
Is there a way to harness its power for good?
And one that deserves exploration. While Shams al-Marif does contain teachings that can be misused,
Yep.
it also offers insights into spiritual practices that, if approached with caution and respect, could have positive applications.
What kind of positive applications are we talking about?
Well, for instance, Shams al-Marif delves into the concept of divine names and attributes.
Okay.
These names and attributes are believed to hold specific vibrational frequencies and energetic qualities. Some practitioners believe that by meditating on these names and attributes,
Right.
one can connect with those divine qualities
Uh-huh.
and manifest positive changes in their life.
So it's like using sound and vibration to align oneself with certain energies.
Exactly. And this concept of using sound for healing and transformation
Yeah.
is gaining traction in modern holistic practices as well.
Wow.
So it's like these ancient teachings are finding new expression in our modern world.
That's fascinating. Are there other positive applications?
Shams al-Marif also places a heavy emphasis on self-purification and spiritual discipline
Okay.
as a means of achieving higher states of consciousness. These practices, if approached sincerely and with proper guidance, could potentially lead to personal growth, self-awareness, and a deeper connection to one's inner being.
It sounds like a rigorous spiritual journey.
It is,
Right.
but it's crucial to remember that these practices require patience, dedication, and a deep understanding of the principles involved.
Right.
It's not about quick fixes or shortcuts, but rather a journey of self-discovery and transformation.
It makes sense with a book like Shams al-Marif. It's easy to get caught up in the allure of power
Yeah,
and forget that true spiritual growth is a process, not a destination.
right.
But let's be realistic. There are still potential dangers associated with this book.
Yes.
How can someone who's genuinely interested in exploring its teachings do so safely and responsibly?
That's a crucial question,
Yeah.
and one that deserves a thoughtful and thorough answer.
For sure.
And that's what we'll be exploring in more detail in part 3 of our deep dive into Shams al-Marif.
Sounds like a plan. We'll be back after a short break to discuss the safe and ethical considerations surrounding Shams al-Ma'arif.
Stay tuned.
So we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into this mysterious book, Shams al-Ma'arif.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has.
Yeah.
We've talked about its history, the mysteries, the controversies,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the potential dangers.
Right.
But for those listeners out there who are intrigued by all this,
Yeah.
but also understandably cautious,
Mm-hmm.
what advice would you give them?
That's a question a lot of people grapple with.
Right.
And there's no easy answer.
Right.
It really depends on the individual,
Okay.
their intentions, and their level of spiritual maturity.
So this isn't just like picking up any old book.
No, it's not like picking up a self-help book or a quick fix guide.
Right.
This book deals with powerful concepts and practices that can have profound effects, both positive and negative.
So what would you say are the absolute must-haves
Yeah.
before someone even considers opening Shams al-Ma'arif?
Well, first and foremost, a solid grounding in traditional Islamic teachings is essential.
Yeah.
You need to understand the context, the ethics, and the spiritual framework surrounding these practices.
So you can't just dive in blindly.
No, you can't. It's like trying to operate heavy machinery without knowing the controls.
That's a good analogy. What else?
Finding a qualified and trustworthy guide or teacher is crucial.
Okay.
Someone with deep knowledge of Islamic mysticism, specifically Sufism,
Right.
and experience in guiding others through these practices.
So they can provide the proper instruction and context,
Exactly, and safeguards to ensure you're not venturing into dangerous territory.
like having an experienced Sherpa when you're climbing Mount Everest.
Exactly. You wouldn't attempt that climb alone.
No, you wouldn't. And even with a guide,
Yeah.
it's important to proceed with caution and humility.
Absolutely. This journey isn't about ego boosting or seeking supernatural powers.
Right.
It's about spiritual growth,
Yeah.
self-purification, and connecting with the divine.
Speaking of which, with all the stories we've heard about negative consequences,
Yeah.
what about protection?
Protection is paramount,
Yeah.
especially when dealing with potentially powerful spiritual practices.
Right.
Shams al-Ma'arif itself mentions various protective measures,
Okay, like what?
like reciting specific verses from the Quran, performing ablutions, and seeking refuge in God from negative influences.
So creating a sort of spiritual shield.
Exactly.
But even with all these precautions,
Yeah.
there's still that question, is it worth the risk? What are the potential benefits that might justify delving into this book?
That's a very personal decision.
Right.
And there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
But for those who approach it responsibly and with the right intentions,
Uh-huh.
Shams al-Ma'arif offers the potential for profound spiritual growth.
Okay.
It can deepen one's understanding of Islamic mysticism, unlock hidden dimensions of reality, and facilitate a closer connection to the divine.
It sounds like a journey of self-discovery. But with a strong emphasis on caution and respect.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored the history, the mysteries, and the controversies surrounding this book, as well as the potential benefits and dangers.
Right.
But ultimately, the decision of whether or not to engage with Shams al-Ma'arif is a personal one.
Absolutely. And it's not a decision to be taken lightly.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners today?
I think the most important takeaway is this Shams al-Ma'arif is more than just a collection of spooky stories or a source of magical powers.
Okay.
It's a complex and multifaceted text that reflects the depth and richness of Islamic mystical traditions.
Right.
It's a reminder that the world is full of mysteries, that knowledge can be both powerful and dangerous, and that the pursuit of spiritual growth is a journey that requires wisdom, discernment, and respect for the unseen.
Well said, and that's what the deep dive is all about. Exploring these fascinating topics, uncovering hidden truths, and prompting you, our listeners, to think critically and draw your own conclusions. Whether you're intrigued or terrified by Shams al-Ma'arif, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of this mysterious and controversial book.
I hope so.
And who knows, maybe it sparked a curiosity to explore the vast and fascinating world of Islamic mysticism,
It is a fascinating world.
with a newfound appreciation for its complexities and its potential.
But as with any powerful knowledge, proceed with caution, respect, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.